Good evening. This is the Board of Education meeting for June 7th, 2002. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Do we have any changes to the agenda, Dr. Rice?
Not at this time.
Hearing none, I'll request a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
And a second on it. Motion and a second. All those in favor?
We'll do a roll call vote.
Oh, roll call.
Thank you. Vote as follows. Trustee Peterson?
Here.
Do you approve the
Aye.
agenda?
Aye.
Thank you. Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Callahan?
Yes.
And Trustee Dannenberg?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries 4-0.
Do we have any public comment in closed session?
If there's anyone who has public comment for our closed session items, please use the raise hand icon at the bottom of your screen at this time. No, we do not have any public comment for closed session items. Thank you.
In that case, I'll take a motion to go to closed session to discuss public employee appointment and conference with our legal counsel. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
A second.
Thank you. Vote as follows. Trustee Peterson? I think I saw his head nod yes. Sorry. Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Callahan?
Yes.
Thank you. And Trustee Dannenberg?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Okay, we'll move to closed session now. And you- Good evening once again, and welcome to the Board of Education meeting for June 7th, 2022. Would everybody please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. In closed session this evening, the board took action to employ Miss Lindsay Guzak as the assistant principal at Cabrillo Middle School. The roll call vote was Miss Lomax made the motion, Miss Callahan seconded the motion, and Mr. Peterson said yes, Miss Lomax said yes, Miss Callahan said yes, and I said yes for a unanimous vote for those of us present. Congratulations to Miss Guzak. Dr. Rice, do you have would you like to share with us some of Ms. Guzak's story of what she's done in the district thus far?
I would, thank you. And then we'll go back and do roll call right after this, Ms. Dom. So let me proceed with the report out on Ms. Guzak. First of all, personal and professional congratulations to Lindsay. She's an up and coming star. We're super excited to have her at Cabrillo and appreciate the board's support in making what we think is an excellent appointment. Ms. Guzak has 12 years of service in education as a teacher and as a summer school administrator. She began her career in the Ventura Unified School District in 2009 as a substitute teacher and is currently serving as a 7th and 8th grade teacher at Sunset School. Ms. Guzak is an excellent teacher in the classroom, but she is also a leader on her campus. Her colleagues benefit from her leadership skills, enthusiasm, and willingness to share her knowledge. In addition, she has a dynamic and engaging personality, which has assisted her in building relationships with students and families. Ms. Guzak is considered an effective communicator who collaborates successfully with all stakeholders. Her skills, years of service, and comprehensive perspectives of the district and middle school community will make her an excellent assistant principal at Cabrillo Middle School. Congratulations, Lindsay.
Board comments? Mr. Peterson, do you have any?
I'm just excited for her.
Very good.
Congratulations again.
Ms. Lomax?
I'm very excited and I know she'll do a fabulous job. Congratulations.
Ms. Callahan?
Yes, thank you, Ms. Guzak, for your dedication to be such a transformational leader, an educator, and parent. We are thrilled to have you at Cabrillo, and thank you for your years of service already.
Yes. I too would like to thank you for your years of service, and it's always a pleasure when we're able to promote one of our own, and we believe we got a good one here, so thank you and congratulations. Okay, I missed the roll call, so we'll go back and do the roll call vote.
Perfect, thank you. President Sabrina Rodriguez is absent this evening, so Vice President Dr. Jerry Dannenberg.
Here.
Thank you. Trustee Amy Callahan.
Here.
Trustee Velma Lomax.
Here.
Trustee Calvin Peterson.
Here.
Thank you. And Superintendent Dr. Roger Rice.
Here.
Thank you.
Now that we're back on track, Dr. Rice, you have some report on some introductions and good news.
I do. Thank you very much, Dr. Dannenberg. Gives me great pleasure to enter into our good news this evening. And as always, we try to be as respectful as we can to our guests. And this evening, I know we have a sign language interpreter who's with us, who has limited time. So I would like to move to the board good news to facilitate a quick presentation and invite Trustee Callahan to lead us into the next piece of good news. So Trustee Callahan, go for it.
Thank you so much. And I don't know if I'm allowed to bring my daughter because she wanted to see this as well, because it just happens to be that this is her school, Loma Vista, led by Principal Michael Wise and our wonderful scholars that are joining us today to share a little bit about their CME experience. I would just like to go ahead and share with you guys some good news from our very own students. And their experiences. But I'm going to invite my Maya. She's not sharing, but just to watch because she wanted to watch her classmates. So thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Ms. Quiros, two of the students are in as attendees, both Brianna and, well, the other student was there a moment ago. So girls, whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and take it away. Tonight we have Brianna and Jordan and Madeline, who will talk about their experience to CME, the Marine Institute.
Good evening. We are from the 5th grade class at Loma Vista Elementary. Our names are Jordan, Madeline, and Brianna. We have been invited to speak with you tonight about our CME experience. The Catalina Island Marine Institute, or CME, is an outdoor education experience for 5th graders. CME is located at Troyon Bay, and each year 5th grade classes visit from a variety of schools. At CME, the leaders teach us about the marine animals and their habitats. They also teach us about how they protect and preserve the island. There are lots of fun activities at CME, including a night dive, where we saw the bioluminescence in the water. We struggled to put on the wetsuits, but it was worth it because we got to dance on the dive deck. Jordan? This year, Loma Vista visited CME in April. We met at school early one morning and hopped on a bus, a very bumpy bus, to CME. We got to sit with our friends, and lots of people were singing SpongeBob SquarePants. Once we got to the boat, we loaded luggage and found seats up top. After everyone got on, we started moving, and we got to get candy and food. Once we arrived on the island, we got to meet the singing instructors and ate lunch. We found out who our bunkmates were and went snorkeling. Brianna?
I tried to find my paper.
That's okay, buddy. You can just say it from your memory.
Okay.
Okay, there are so many wonderful parts to our school trip to CME. My favorite part of the experience was rock climbing because it was fun to try. And if you get stuck, you can jump down and it feels like you're flying. CME is a sleep over camp. And we bunked together and had meals with our classmates. My bunkmates were Evelyn, but Miss Nadia and Miss G were next to us. We had a great time together, and we made new memories. I will never forget the kind of fun we had, like swimming. 3 of us jumped off the dock into the water, but Evelyn did not jump because she was nervous about it. Thank you for inviting us to share our experience at CME.
Well done, girls. Thank you so much for joining us.
And can we have our sign language interpreter introduce yourself to the community and to the board, please? And thank you for being here.
Hello, my name is Jose Palacios. I am a community interpreter with Life Signs Interpreting Agency, but for the last semester, I've been working at Loma Vista as a K through 5 interpreter. TK
Thank
through.
you. Thank you, Jose. Thank you for being here very much.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. And I just wanted to ask real quickly, Madeline, were you going to share anything? No. Okay. Thank you so much, Principal Wise, and thank you so much, students and scholars, and our wonderful interpreter for joining us today to share this good news.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Okay. I don't know how to follow that. That's a tough act to follow. Whenever you have kids on, it's just really tough to follow, but we're going to give it a shot. We're going to move into introducing some of our new leaders that were recently appointed to leadership positions in the district for the coming school year. I'm going to start by introducing our newly appointed principal to Cabrillo Middle School, Ms. Courtney Johnson, who is with us this evening. Welcome, Courtney.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
I'm going to be reading a bio, and then you can say a few words, and then the board will likely greet you. So Ms. Johnson has been serving as assistant principal of Calabasas High School in the Las Virgenes Unified School District since 2019, where she also served as a science and avid teacher. Before this, she served as a science and avid teacher for El Segundo High School in the El Segundo Unified School District. She also served as a response to intervention 5th grade teacher for Briggs Middle School in the Briggs School District. Ms. Johnson has experience planning and coordinating school and community events, a wellness center, peer tutoring programs, and providing academic and social supports to students. Her leadership is driven by her service to the community of students, parents, and faculty. Ms. Johnson's experience, dedication, and work ethic will assist her in leading Cabrillo Middle School as the principal. In addition, she wishes to support a middle school community of students, teachers, and staff, and parents by continuing programs that foster a culture necessary for students to thrive and excel academically, socially, and emotionally. We believe Ms. Johnson will make an excellent addition to the Cabrillo team and to the Ventura Unified School District. Congratulations, Courtney, and welcome to Ventura Unified School District.
Thank you so much. I am thrilled that I get to join Ventura Unified and Cabrillo's leadership team. As someone who's born and raised in Ventura County, I'm just thrilled to be back in the community that I know. And I have to thank everyone who I have interacted with along the way from the interview process. Everyone has been so supportive and welcoming. And Dr. Dawes has been fantastic in welcoming me onto campus. I've been able to meet the faculty already and attend their honor roll ceremony. And the amount of excitement that I have, I can't put into words. So I'm really excited to work with my leadership team next year and our faculty to keep Cabrillo as fantastic as it is already and just move into the future. And I hope to be with Ventura for a very, very, very long time. Thank you so much.
Okay, we'll go in our normal order. Mr. Peterson.
Congratulations and welcome. My son went there and we had a fantastic experience, and I know you'll continue the tradition.
Ms. Lomax.
Thank you. I've heard nothing but great things about you, Ms. Johnson, and I'm anxious to meet you in person and welcome you to the Ventura Unified School District. I just want to warn you that we are very much a family in Ventura Unified, and we love hugs more than handshakes, just so you know.
That makes me even more excited. Thank you.
Ms. Callahan.
I want to say thank you for joining our family and choosing Ventura Unified. And Trustee Lomax did not share that the amazing robotics team is housed at Cabrillo. So that is very fun, as well as our amazing arts program and music program, and many other things. I don't want to leave it out. And I also was an alumni as well as my husband. So if you need any tips from 10,000 years ago, we got you covered.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Ms. Johnson, congratulations. We often give the individuals, if they have any family members they'd like to share or introduce. Do you have any with you?
I do. My husband he was sitting here earlier, but I have an 18-month-old and I don't think you want to hear her screaming. They are doing bedtime right now, but he is so happy that I'm working closer to home, and he can't wait to join Cabrillo as well.
Congratulations again. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Dr. Rice?
Thank you. Congratulations again, Courtney, and welcome to the team. My next introduction is our newly appointed principal at Junipero Serra Elementary School, Ms. Anna Belinsky. Anna, welcome and congratulations. I'm going to read a short bio, and then you can have some time to say a few words. Ms. Belinsky has been serving as assistant principal at Driffle Elementary School in Oxnard School District since 2021. Before this, she served as English Language Arts, English Language Development Content Specialist at the Ventura County Office of Education. She also served as grade level alignment lead, junior kindergarten lead teacher director, and second grade lead teacher for Marymount of Santa Barbara. Additionally, she has served as an elementary teacher for North Monterey County Unified School District. Ms. Belinsky joins us with an extensive range of instructional leadership experience, a breadth of pedagogical knowledge, and a focus on academic acceleration to support the instructional needs of all students. As an administrator, she prioritizes relationships with students, staffs, and families. Ms. Belinsky's varied experience and leadership qualities have equipped her to lead Junipero Serra Elementary School as the principal. As a former Loma Vista, Cabrillo, and Ventura High graduate, go VUSD, it is her goal to return to her home to give back to the community that inspired her to become an educator. We believe Ms. Belinsky will make another excellent addition to the J. Serra and VUSD team. Congratulations, Ms. Belinsky. Anna, welcome to VUSD.
Thank you, Dr. Rice. Thank you to the board. Thank you so much for the opportunity to meet all of you virtually. I look forward to meeting all of you in person. Like Dr. Rice shared, I am a VUSD alum. I went to CME myself as a fifth grader at Loma Vista. So hearing the students sharing the long tradition is just warms my heart. So I am thrilled to be the new principal at Serra. I have also had the opportunity to meet with the principal Senesac, as well as attend the most recent faculty meeting where I was so warmly welcomed and really connected immediately with so many of the faculty and staff. So really looking forward to starting off a new school year on a positive. And I do have my family here. They're in the blur, so I will introduce them. So I have my youngest son, Drayden. Drayden's going to be a freshman at Foothill in the fall. I have my older son, Dylan, and my husband, Danny, who he did attend J. Serra as well. So we're really excited to be back in Ventura Unified.
Okay, Mr. Peterson.
Well, I look forward to meeting you in person, and it looks like our mantra works for the future of every student, and you're the future, and now you're going to lead other people to the future.
Ms. Lomax.
Yes, welcome. And it's awesome to have you back where you belong and in such a great position. J. Serra is an awesome school, and they have an awesome PTA, and you're going to love it there. And well, you already know all that anyway, but
I do. I do. And we're PTA as well. They are wonderful.
Yeah. And so we're looking forward to it. So congratulations. And we look forward to the future.
Thank you.
Ms. Callahan.
Ms. Belinsky, Anna, how lucky are we to have you at Ventura? Welcome back. And yes, Anna and I believe we were classmates at Cabrillo. I don't quite know, but we definitely played against each other on the volleyball courts. Definitely. But Anna we are so lucky to have you and to lead our scholars as a transformational leader. I'm excited to help support you and your vision. And thank you for being here. Thank you for being with us.
Congratulations, Ms. Belinsky. It's one of our biggest honors to be able to hire staff back that went to our schools. It just shows that our Our staff appreciates what they got here and knows what Ventura is all about. So we're so happy to have you. Thank you for thinking about coming back to the Ventura Unified School District. Dr. Rice?
Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. And it was great meeting your family, and we're super happy to have you back in Ventura Unified. And I think you're seeing a theme with Courtney and Anna. I know our district has welcomed folks from Ventura Unified and alum and families and folks that live here back to the community to lead our schools, and we couldn't be prouder. At the same time, we also don't compromise. We hire the best leaders we can possible, and that includes the three individuals that we're introducing to the board. And sometimes that means an infusion of new ideas and new blood and new folks with leadership experiences outside of Ventura. And that's the case with Melanie Morrow, who is our newly appointed principal at Poinsettia Elementary School. Melanie, congratulations and welcome to VUSD. I'm going to be reading a brief bio, and then we'd love to hear from you as well. So Ms. Morrow has been serving as the preschool administrator of Peachland SDC Preschool since 2018. She has also served as assistant principal at Valencia Valley and Peachland Elementary School in the Newhall School District. She also served as a teacher on special assignment at Ramona Elementary School and transitional kindergarten, first and sixth grade teacher in the Oxnard School District. She also served in Germany as an early childhood teacher at Rose Barracks Child Development Center in the U.S. Army. Ms. Morrow comes to us with extensive knowledge of educational law, special education rules and timelines, implementation of early childhood education, best teaching practices, and curriculum theory. As an assistant principal in both a Title I and non-Title I school settings, her work has enabled her to work with a diverse group of students, parents, and a school community who share various backgrounds and experiences. Ms. Morrow's varied experience and leadership qualities have equipped her well to lead Poinsettia Elementary School as the principal. In addition, she has a passion for supporting parents, students, and the community. The committee and I believe that Ms. Morrow will make an excellent addition to the leadership team at Poinsettia and the Ventura Unified School District. Congratulations, Melanie, and welcome to Ventura Unified School District. We're really happy to have you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was wonderful. Thank you, everyone. I am so excited to be moving back to Ventura County, back to where I am from. I'm so excited to get to know the staff, the students, and the parents at Poinsettia, which is going to happen next week. So I'm really excited about that. I can't tell you what a dream come true it is to be working for Ventura Unified. And I know this is going to be the best school year yet, and I just can't wait. So thank you again, everyone.
Mr. Peterson.
I'm excited that you're joining our team. I look forward to meeting you in person, and welcome back to Ventura. We'll take a day at the beach.
Yes.
Ms. Lomax?
And I too just welcome you. I think I can't wait for all this is just so exciting that we're bringing back people and people that love our community and understand our community. And this next school year is going to be very exciting, but welcome. You're going to love Poinsettia.
Thank you. I can't wait.
Ms. Callahan?
Thank you so much for joining VUSD. I know that's a recurring theme, but we are thrilled to have you. Welcome, welcome. And how your background is fascinating. So I can't wait to have a lunch or get to know you in person. I'm literally live just right down the street. So anything you need, welcome.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yes, I too would like to welcome you. And again, thank you for joining our district. Do you have any family that you'd like to share with us?
Not at this time. He's actually walking the dog, so we don't have any disruptions. I tried to get him all out of the house, but soon enough, we'll get to meet him.
Very good. Thank you. And congratulations again. Dr. Rice?
Thank you and welcome, Melanie. Congratulations. We're super excited to have you at Poinsettia Elementary moving forward. And speaking of moving forward, we're going to go on with our agenda. And I have to share that this next item, which is the celebration of athletic achievements, is providing an opportunity for us to celebrate some of the most amazing accomplishments that our students experience in their career K-12. I know from working specifically and individually with Jamal Brown and Sean Stropel and Dave Hess that these are top quality leaders who are working at their sites to support their students in their athletic endeavors. And I can also say that in addition to the top quality leadership they're providing their athletic programs, how wonderful it has been for me over the last 3 years to spend times in the seats at the gym and on the sidelines, at the field, at the court, on the track. It has just been a wonderful time. It's been some of the most enjoyable times. And without fail, our students and our student athletes have comported themselves with dignity in class and integrity, sportsmanship throughout all of the competitions that I've witnessed. And I couldn't be more proud of them. So this evening, I'm going to turn it over to our 3 athletic directors. And I don't know if you 3 have worked out which of you will go first, but I can point at someone on the Hollywood squares with the best of them. So Dave Hess, I'm just guessing, you might be the veteran in the group. So would you like to go first or tell me who's going first?
Sure, I'll go first. I am the veteran in the group. So yeah, I will go first, yeah. Good evening, everybody. My name is David Hess. I'm the athletic director at Ventura High School. Amy, are you going to share the presentation on the screen, or do I do that?
I'll do that. Give me 1 second.
Maria, okay. Yeah, that looks like it. All right. We had a good year this year at Ventura High School. I'm very proud of our athletic program. Our kids are wonderful. We have phenomenal coaches. We all do in this district. We're very fortunate, I think. But it was a really good year for us. If you go to the next slide. Ventura High School we offer 24 athletic programs. You know, each program has different levels. You've got your varsity, JV, frosh-off, et cetera. The thing that I was impressed with this year for us was that of our 24 programs, 14 of them were league champions this year. And that's a pretty high number. That doesn't usually happen. And so I was very pleased with that. And then we had 3 other teams that were not league champions, but also went on to CIF competition. So that's not a bad record. Next slide. Our Pacific View League champions this year, we had our boys and girls cross country team, our boys and girls tennis teams, our boys and girls water polo team. The asterisk means that we tied for the league championship. Our girls basketball team, our boys wrestling team, baseball, boys golf, boys and girls track and field, girls swimming, and girls beach volleyball. Now, this year was the first year we offered girls beach volleyball. There was no postseason competition for that. And it was kind of a cobbled together league, if you will, because it was the first year that girls beach volleyball was a CIF sport. So we created a league with some schools in Santa Barbara and Santa Ynez and kind of split them into a North and South division. And we were the South Division champions. So I'm counting that. Next slide. Especially, I thought, was pleased with our spring season. We have 10 sports in the spring, and 7 of them were league champions. And I've never had that happen before. We've had, that many programs win a league title at one time. Baseball, boys golf, boys tennis, boys and girls track and field, and then girls swimming, and then the girls beach volleyball. So that was a pretty nice accomplishment for us. Next slide. Now, if you've been following any news at all, you may have heard of our super freshman female runner, Sadie Engelhart. Sadie is a once in a generation talent, or maybe not generation, but she's definitely a unique talent. She is a phenomenal distance runner. If you follow high school sports at all, you've probably seen her in the Star. She had a fantastic cross country season. Just amazing how fast this girl is as a freshman. Then the track and field season, she got even better. And we were extremely pleased that Sadie was the state of California champion in the 1600 meters this year. That is impressive. She also, before that meet, broke the world record for the mile for under 16-year-olds. That's world record. So that was really something. Sadie also ran the 800 meters at the state meet. She came in second. Now, running the 1600 meters and the 800 meters in the same meet is torture. And it was really phenomenal that she did that well. And so we could go on and on about her. She's a great kid. She's a great student. She gets along well with everybody. If you saw her walking on campus, you wouldn't, she wouldn't stand out as somebody who's necessarily that different, but boy, you watch her run and she's just flying. It's pretty fun to watch. And then next slide, please. And so that leads me to my last slide. We've got, I wouldn't normally talk about freshmen at a presentation like this, but we really do have 4 pretty exceptional freshmen this year at Ventura High School. Of course, there's Sadie, but we also have a freshman swimmer named Sarah Beckman. And Sarah Beckman is a phenomenal sprinter. She's very fast in the pool. She looks the part. She's got the frame and the build, the whole thing. The Ventura County Star is going to name her. They have named her this year's Ventura County Female Swimmer of the Year. Not bad for a freshman. And then we had 2 baseball players on our baseball team this year that were our 2 starting pitchers. And I've never seen that happen before. It's pretty rare to see a freshman start on a varsity baseball team as a pitcher. And we had 2 this year, both Josh Woodward. Woodworth was the Pacific View League Baseball Player of the Year. And then our other freshman, Wyland Nelson, was the Pacific View League Baseball Pitcher of the Year. And then, combine that with Sadie, and I got to say, the future looks bright for Ventura High. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hess. I really appreciate it, and I always enjoy watching Ventura compete. You guys compete with such class and sportsmanship, and compete very hard, but very well. And I always enjoyed watching your teams play and your coaches coach. So thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you.
Next, I think we'll move on to Mr. Brown at Foothill. Jamal, how you doing? Good evening.
Good evening, Dr. Rice and board. Thank you so much for having us and giving us the opportunity at Foothill Tech to talk about a few of our student athletes. Community welcome. My name is Jamal Brown. I'm the athletic director at Foothill Technology High School. This is my 3rd year here at Foothill, and we're extremely excited about some of our athletes and their accomplishments this year. Next slide, please. So we like to put the student in student athlete at Foothill. And, our average GPA, of our spring athletes for our Q3 was just a mere paltry 3.45. So we're pretty impressed. We're pretty proud of our academic tradition that we have at Foothill Tech. Our athletes take that very, very seriously. And we very rarely have any type of academic issues at Foothill Tech. Next slide, please. In 2021-22, we had some league champions. We compete in an association, actually, it's the Tri-County Athletic Association, which is comprised of 2 different leagues. There's the Tri-Valley League and also the Frontier League. So depending on which level you're in, you have a chance to compete in either one of those. We had our boys water polo and girls tennis, girls basketball and swimming. And then our baseball team, they went undefeated and were our Frontier League champions this year in 2021-22. So extremely proud of those guys. Next slide, please. We had some all-league MVPs as well. We had a junior, Sophia Lewis. We had a cross-country runner, Kai Benson, who was also a junior for us. Levi Davis, who was not only a league MVP, he was also an all-CIFer as a senior in boys water polo. Rome Falco-Kia was a 12th grader. She was a league MVP in girls basketball. Girls soccer, we saw Riley Snyder be our MVP Defensive Player of the Year and as a senior. And then Diego Garcia Ocampo was our MVP Offensive Player of the Year as a senior. We had Ben Wang, who's a junior. He was our MVP in singles and tennis. And then we had Xander Belcher, who was a senior MVP in boys baseball. Next slide, please. There are all the teams that had a chance to compete in CIF playoffs for us this year at Foothill. Being in just our 8th season at Foothill Tech, we've established a lot of tradition in a short amount of time. And the success that we've experienced just across the board in our athletics this year by all of these teams making the CIF playoffs, we just couldn't be more proud of these kids and our senior class that's going to be graduating here in about a week and a half here. We did have a couple of CIF finalists. Girls golf, we had an individual. We also had a swimmer who competed, and we'll get to the next slide in that. And then track and field, we had a state competition in track and field as well. Next slide, please. There's our girls golfer, junior Sophia Lewis. She won league for the 2nd straight year. So she won it as a sophomore. She won it again this year as a junior. We're obviously very excited to have her back as a senior next year and leading that girls golf program. Like Mr. Hess alluded to, we've got a couple of pretty talented freshmen, one of them being Charlie Wu Blocksberg as a swimmer. She just went down to the CIF Division II swim championships down there in Mission Viejo. And she actually won her heat. It was the consolation swim championship. There were 8 swimmers in that one. She actually won that heat. I got to see it. And she was just so impressive just how she competed with poise down there as a freshman. And then senior Aiden Hagerty, he finished 7th this year in the pole vaulting state championship. And that's exceptionally impressive because there's no divisional classification once you get to that state meet. So they threw him in there with open division, Division I schools with over 4,000 kids in there. And that kid came out with a 7th in the pole vaulting state championships this year. So we just couldn't be any more proud of him as well. Next slide, please. It takes a village to make any athletics program work. And, our nurses, what they did this year for, going through COVID, Mary Smith and Jen Cook, there's no way we could have gotten through this season without them. Nancy Maxson, obviously, she was very, very instrumental in the testing that we had to do for some of our student athletes this year. Eric Reynolds providing the leadership down there at the district office. Dave Hess and Sean Scopel. Sean and I started in the same year. Dave is definitely our senior partner, but without those guys' support, both having Buena and Ventura and having good friendships with those guys, Foothill Athletics wouldn't exist either. Number of support staff: Carrie, Noemi Cruz, Rosa Santos, Kendra Linnaeus, Jessica Wright, Luann LeBaire, Bernice Mata, and Sarah Lynn Danbrook. I mean, all you guys fielding phone calls and helping us with reservations with our no athletic facilities at Foothill. There's no way that we get anywhere without you guys. You're so important to us. And then Sue Capelli and Mike McBride in transportation, the job you guys did not only this year, fielding all of the bus transportation requests with the challenges you guys had. And then finally, Ventura College in the city of Ventura. I can't speak enough to our partners in our community and what you guys provide for us at Foothill Tech. Again, without you guys, there's no way Foothill Tech Athletic exists. And we can't thank you guys enough. Thank you so much for having us tonight. Really, really appreciate it. And thank you guys for supporting our student athletes at Foothill.
Thank you, Jamal. Really appreciate your report this evening. And I think your effort to point out all the support personnel and the education support providers who helped you run those athletic departments is a real class act on your part. So thank you for doing that. I know I see Carol nodding. You got to be really proud of those folks contributing to all aspects of our school operations. And I have to do this, and I know I probably shouldn't, but I'm going to call out Sophia Lewis. I knew her parents. I know her parents well. Gabby and Aaron were both teachers of mine back in the day when I was the principal at Wainimi High School. So congratulations, Aaron and Gabby, on your daughter's fine work. Congratulations, Sophia. I know Dr. Rickard was a teacher there as well, and she remembers Gabby and Aaron, and quality people. Great to see their daughter doing so well. And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Stropel to bring it home. Sean, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Rice. Thank you, board. We really appreciate, like Dave and Jamal said, really appreciating having the opportunity to come share about our student athletes. I'm not going to go through all of the people that Jamal did to thank, but there's a couple people on that slide that I couldn't do my job without, one being Noemi Cruz at my site as my assistant. and she does everything to make things go smooth. Without her, what we do here is not possible. And my partnership with Dave and Jamal through these past 3 years has been, it's been a blessing, because we wouldn't be able to get to the place we are now and have these full 3 seasons of a regular year without those 2 guys. So appreciate you guys, administration support. And let's talk about Buena a little bit. I see, going through Dave and Jamal's talks about Ventura and Foothill, that it seems like VUSD high schools have been really successful this year, and that doesn't stop when we turn and look at Buena this year. We have some league champions that we had this year, similar to Ventura High School. Our football team was undefeated Pacific View League champions, and we had league MVP Jacob Murphy. And what an amazing game, Buenaventura game this year, coming down to the last play. That's how it should be every year, competing together to have a wonderful experience for everybody in an event like that. So that was a great opportunity for us. I'll highlight them a little bit later. Our boys water polo team also was Pacific View League co-champions with Ventura High School, as Dave noted, and Ethan Edwards for his 2nd year in a row being league MVP for our boys water polo team. And they made a deep run in playoffs, which I'll highlight a little bit later as well. Our girls golf team was undefeated Pacific View League champions this year. Our boys soccer team was Pacific View League co-champions with Channel Islands, and boys soccer is dear to my heart. So that was a really great experience for me. We have one of the best leagues in Southern Section, so to be co-champions in that league is significant. And we also earned league MVP Andrew Alonso in boys soccer. In wrestling, we had 3 league champions in John Miller, 160 pounds, Charlie Newman at 138 pounds, and Ryan Pedroza at 113 pounds. And in track and field, we had a few league champions as well, Maddie Easter, Ava Okun, William Boyd, Colin Gunther, and Ely Tume. You can go ahead and change the slide, please. Back one. Thank you. As Dave notes, we have 24 sports that we offer at Buena High School, similar to Ventura, and we had only 3 teams not get the opportunity to participate in some type of CIF playoffs, whether that be individual or team. Here are all the playoff opportunities we have and where they finished. We had a couple deep runs that we made in CIF playoffs this year. As for our football team, made the CIF finalists. I'm sure many of you were at that exciting game, came down to the last play of the game. Our boys water polo team was 1 goal away from making it to the finals as well. Our girls golf had a CIF individual qualifier in Sierra Engel, who is our golf coach's daughter. So that was an exciting experience for him. Our cross country team made it to CIF finals. Our girls volleyball team made it to the first round of playoffs. Our girls water polo team made another deep run into their playoffs, Division 6, into the quarterfinals. Our boys soccer team in the first round, our boys basketball team in the first round. Wrestling made the first round team duels and had some individuals, which I'll highlight a little bit later. Our softball team made it to the second round of playoffs this year to lose by 1 run to Heritage Christian, who then went on to make it to the quarterfinals. Our baseball team made a deep run into the semifinals against Moreno Valley. And our boys tennis team made the first round team playoffs in quite a while and came really close to coming out of that round. So we're really proud of that team. Our boys golf had individual CIF playoffs, which I will highlight later. We have 2 amazing freshmen at Buena this year. Our track and field team made it to CIF prelims and finals, and our swim team made it to CIF prelims. Okay, I'm going to highlight a couple of our programs from each sport, from each season of sport. We had some real success in the playoffs this year. Specifically, our undefeated Pacific View League champions CIF finalist football team. We had 6 VC Star All-County players and 6 Ventura County Football Coach Association players. And then we had 7 players make the All-CIF team. And Zane Carter, Larry L.J. Chandler, Sonny Chandler, Jackson Geyer, Colin Gunther, Jacob Murphy, and Carson Russell. Being athletic director for my 3rd year now, so it seems like 5, but 3 years now. This was one of the most exciting opportunities to be able to travel to these different cities and see our football team compete against these different teams in playoffs and have the opportunity to win a CIF championship. This is a historic run for these guys. It's the first time that we've ever made it to the finals, and they'll have a banner, although it is runner-up. It's still a banner that will be in our gym for the rest of their lifetime. So that's a really exciting thing for them. Similar, our boys water polo team had a historic run this year to the semifinals to lose by 1 goal to Burbank. They were co-champions, Division 5 semifinalists, and like I stated before, Ethan Edwards was our league MVP for the 2nd straight year. Ethan Edwards and Liam Beeson earned all county honors, and then Ethan Edwards, Liam Beeson, and Nico Fourneau were all CIF first team this year. Winter highlights, we had our girls water polo team who was ranked number 1 or 2 in Division 5 throughout the entire year and made a run to the quarterfinals in playoffs. And all county and all CIF was our lady in the middle, Jackie Starr, an unbelievable player, junior, coming back for next year. And then wrestling, we had a CIF champion in John Miller who went 5-0 in his championship run down here in the picture. He was a PVL champion and CIF champion at 160 pounds. And Ryan Pedroza and Charlie Newman got the opportunity to compete in the CIF finals. Spring highlights, similar to Dave, we had a number of teams do really well in our spring sports. Baseball, they made a semifinal division run in CIF playoffs, and those CIF award winners haven't been noted yet, but we have 3 nominations in Tanner Beltowski and Ty Weeks and Braden Kimball. Again, baseball between Ventura and Buena this year was amazing. Came down to the last game of the season. I'm really excited for that continued positive rivalry for the future. Boys golf, had the opportunity to go see our 2 freshmen, Adam Anderson and Brady McHenry, compete multiple times this year. These 2 are amazing. If you get the opportunity to go watch these guys, they make this sport look so easy. We all know that it's not, but individual PVL champion is Adam Anderson. He was a CIF finalist and he qualified for the CIF state regionals. Wasn't able to compete in those regionals, but he did qualify. Brady McHenry was 2nd in PVL individual. So I just want to note that individual champion and then 2nd in PVL. They're both freshmen. Brady tied for 4th in CIF finals. So he was 2 strokes off of getting top 3. And then he did compete in CIF state regionals. I had the opportunity to go down to Brookshire and Pasadena and walk that course with him, and amazing golfer. He came within a couple strokes of being able to go to the CIF finals. So really excited for those 2 freshmen for the future. They are they're exceptional people, exceptional students, and they're going to be ones to watch. I encourage you to come out to the course and watch them. Track and field this year, we had 3 of our boys track team compete in CIF finals. William Boyd in the 100-meter and 200-meter. And if you haven't seen William Boyd run, you better keep an eye on him because he is fast and set records at Buena this year for the 100-meter and 200-meter. Colin Gunther in the hurdles and the 110 hurdles and the 300 hurdles competed in CIF finals. And Ely Tume in the long jump and triple jump. And then swim, we have Ethan Okun, who's a junior this year. He was league champion and competed in prelims for CIF. Again, I want to note, appreciate Dave and Jamal again for all the work that they do with me. I appreciate Dr. Bryce. I want to make sure that I thank our administration for all the effort and time that they put in to support athletics. I can't tell you how many events our 4 administrators made it to this year, driving out to all of our CIF events. So thank you very much. Appreciate for you inviting us here tonight.
Sean, thank you so much for a wonderful report. And board and community, did I lie? Like, you can't overestimate the amazing accomplishments of our kids and our student athletes. They compete with such grace and sportsmanship and such excellence that it's so much fun to go watch them compete because of those things. And Sean, you're right. The Buena versus Ventura football game this year was absolutely stellar. I was there. I saw it to the last play. It was just incredible. Got to give out the trophy at the end. Thanks for allowing me to do that. And then also that CIF championship, what a heartbreaker. Came down to the last minute or so. And you guys were right there, very close to a CIF championship. So thank you to all of our athletic directors. Congratulations to all of our student athletes this year. It was so much fun to watch you do what you love to do and what you're passionate about. And that's what makes you so excellent. So congratulations to all of our student athletes. At this time, Dr. Dannenberg, if I might indulge you in a little shift, we actually put a notice for public hearings under item 14A and 14B for around 7:30. And I think to be fair to that notice, if we could call timeout on the good news and move through those, I think those probably will go quickly. And we can honor what we posted, which was a 7:30 time certain. So.
Okay, so we will now open a public hearing regarding the local control accountability plan. Dr. Castro, do you have any comments before we hear from any public members that might have any comment?
Vice President Dannenberg, no, I have no comments. Thank you.
Then we'll hold this open for a minute for any public comments. Are there any public comments on this issue?
So if you have a public comment about the hearing, please, I know we have one person named Linda who's going to give a public comment. I'm not sure if you were doing this on the public hearing. You can either lower your hand at this time and re-raise it in a few minutes. Okay, we do, if anyone has public comment on this, please use the raise hand icon at the bottom of your screen. It does not appear we have any public comment on this particular topic.
Seeing no public comment, I'll close the public hearing and move to the public hearing regarding the 2022-23 proposed original budget. Dr. Chandler, do you have anything you'd like to say about this?
No, thank you, sir. No.
Okay, then I'll open the public hearing. Do we have any public members that'd like to make comment?
If you have a public comment on this particular public hearing item, please use the raise hand icon at the bottom of your screen. We do not have public comment on this item.
So, okay, since we don't have any public comment, I'll close the public hearing on this, and now we can move back, Dr. Rice, to your good news.
Thank you so much for indulging us in that. I think it's important that we honor our time certain public hearings. At this time, I would like to turn it over to Ms. Andrea Crouch and Ms. Gina Wolowitz, who will be taking a few minutes to honor our retirees for the 2021-2022 school year.
Thank you so much. And Ms. Quiros, if you wouldn't mind, thank you, or Ms. Dom, scrolling the retirees. So for the public, we just wanted to let you know that we had a beautiful in-person, not drive-through celebration this year. So very excited to go back to an in-person event to celebrate our retirees for the year. And so we did so at a beautiful property that we have. It's a little gem within the district. It's a property that's on the corner of Day Road and Loma Vista, and it's just a really pretty garden setting. And so we were able to welcome our retirees, all of our retirees and their families to come, and so that we can honor their years of service. And so we had the board there, we had the personnel commission there, executive cabinet. It just really was a beautiful event. Ms. Crouch, would you like to add anything?
Thank you, Ms. Wolowitz. Yes, I just will echo everything that you said. It was just such a beautiful afternoon at a really nice lawn area. And it was just so nice to have our retirees come together to reflect on their contributions and to hear all of the exciting plans that they have ahead of them. So we heard of retirees looking forward to spending time with grandbabies and grandbabies that are on the way, moving out of the area, and lots of traveling. And so it was just neat to be in person and connect with all of them. And then I just wanted to also mention we honored 41 retirees, and collectively as a group, they have served the district for almost 1,000 years. So 993 years by those 41 retirees. So we're just so proud of them and so honored that we had their service. Thank you.
I also just wanted to mention that I appreciated too that the association presidents, both Carol Peak and Dan Nelson, were able to join us in the celebration as well. So we always appreciate their partnership in celebrating our incredible employees.
Thank you, Gina and Andrea. And as we're scrolling through the slides, Dr. Dannenberg, perhaps the board would like to say a few words in recognition of our retirees this year.
Okay, we'll start with Mr. Peterson.
Wow, 1,000 years. That's a long time. I just like to congratulate them in person, and I want to congratulate them on this public forum. A job well done.
Ms. Lomax?
Yeah, it's incredible. And I see these names, and I've been around so long. it's heartwarming that they're going on to the next stage in their life, but also sad that we're seeing them go because they've given such a great part of their life and done it so well and served our students and our district so well. So just thank you to each one of you and good luck and have fun.
Ms. Callahan?
I too just want to thank everyone for their service, and I'm just watching all the names pass, and obviously we all got to see them in person as well, but wow, to dedicate your career and to see these years on here, it's just so appreciated. And I hope they enjoyed this next chapter in their life, but also don't forget about us. There's a lot of need, and we welcome you back. So please, you will always be a part of the Ventura Unified family, and thank you so much for your service.
I too would like to congratulate all of our retirees and thank them for their years and years of service. As Ms. Lomax said, it's kind of sad because some of these people, I was fortunate enough to be part of the hiring process when they were hired years and years ago in the district. So it's beautiful to watch them retire, but it's sad to see them go. And again, thank you all for all you've done for the children of Ventura.
Thank you, Gina and Andrea. We really appreciate the gesture. And I want to second what was said earlier about how nice the gathering was on Day Road, and thank Carol and Dan for being there representing VESPA and VUEA. It was great to have them there helping to honor our retirees. Moving on to our gratitude awards, and this is the final item under good news. I know it's been a long presentation, but you know what? That's the time of year it is. It's the time that we get to reflect and give thanks to all of the great things that have been happening, not only this year, but in the years past. And so, as you know, we take time to give thanks and gratitude to our employees, community members, students, administrators, teachers, and education support providers, professionals who do such a great job that their peers feel compelled to honor them. And while the slide is scrolling with the month of May's gratitude award winners, I want to take the time to read just 3 brief nominations and call out 3 of the individuals to show you the type of quality and the kinds of gratitude that we are expressing to folks. And one is Sherilyn Dannebrook, from the school administrative assistant at Anacapa Middle School, and her nomination reads, Sherilyn has been such a blessing. With the ever-changing dynamics at our school site, she has been a steady and continued guidance for all of our staff and families. She is full of grace and knowledge, and we are truly so grateful for all that she does to keep us motivated and moving. Congratulations, Sherilyn. Our next recipient that I want to call out is Anna Campbell, Director of Fiscal Services at the Education Service Center. Anna Campbell is the VUSD's Fiscal Service Director. She and her team are the backbone of the district. Anna always has a smile while solving the problems of the VUSD and the world. She is one of the smartest people I have known and is a complete queen of Excel. Whether she is directing traffic in the parking lot or helping finalize the budget, she does it all. She does it with all she's got. She never gives up, and sometimes to a fault. I will keep encouraging her to take time off. She is one of the hardest working people of all time. We are so appreciate you, Anna. Take good care of yourself, and congratulations. And then finally, Greg Larson, HVAC refrigeration technician in the facilities department. Greg goes above and beyond in repairing the equipment in the school kitchens. He is an informative communicator and always does his very best to repair equipment in a timely and effective manner. His positive demeanor is infectious, and his great work ethic is also recognized. VUSD is lucky to have Greg on our team. Congratulations, Greg, and thank you for all your service. And thank you and congratulations to all of our gratitude award recipients. That concludes my good news report this evening.
Okay, do we have any correspondence this evening?
We do not.
Okay, and a public comment?
Thank you. At this time, if you would like to make a public comment, please use the raise hand icon at the bottom of the screen. Our board will need to refrain from discussing your comments as you make them due to requirements of the Brown Act, but they are paying attention, they are listening, and they do value your input. We'll be timing everyone for 3 minutes, and I'll let you know when you can begin, and I'll give you a 30-second warning and let you know when your time is up. I will call upon those who have the raise hand icon first in the order that I have them here on my screen. And please remember that this meeting is streaming live, and we do have students that attend and watch our meetings. So please keep your language as respectful as possible. Our first, one second here. Our first speaker. One second, sorry. Of course, I'm the one having technical difficulties this evening. All right, our first speaker will be Linda. Linda, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Go ahead, you've got 3 minutes.
Great, thank you so much. Good evening, Board Vice President Dannenberg and members of the board. My name is Linda Blackburn, and I'm a parent of 3 children, all attending schools in the VUSD. I want to apologize in advance. There were a lot of positive and good things that have been presented in reports by the superintendent, and I apologize for redirecting this to what I hope you will consider constructive criticism. I recently filed a uniform complaint with the district, and I won't go into the specifics of that complaint as it has been documented with a timeline that encompasses most of the school year and has been provided to the board. It was never my intent to have the school or district blindly penalize a teacher, but to simply investigate a matter brought to the attention of administrators early in the academic year. My understanding is that my son is not the only child that has been subject to misconduct by the named teacher in my complaint. This has been substantiated by my older daughter, who had the same teacher 3 years ago, in addition to my son's classmates. To date, I am still waiting for confirmation that an investigation will take place, which, if done properly, will likely find many more students who are made to feel uncomfortable in this teacher's classroom for the 2021-2022 school year and many years prior to that. As a former member of local government staff in various jurisdictions, I understand and appreciate due process. This respect for the process led me down a path I'm not familiar with, given the governing body was a school district, which operates independently and has their own sovereignty, separate from local government. Every step of the way, it was my naive thought that I was going through due process. I went from speaking with the assistant principal to the principal to staff at the district office, and then to the director of secondary curriculum for VUSD during the course of the 2021-2022 academic year. I was incredibly grateful to those that appeared to try and help me get this issue resolved, until I learned of my state-supported rights of how complaints are to be handled. There were so many missed opportunities for district staff to inform me of my rights as a parent to take this complaint further than school and district staff responses. However, my rights and the correct application of the state-mandated complaint process were never afforded to my family during this ordeal. My faith in school and district employees, board policies, and administrative regulations has been tarnished in light of my attempts to navigate the complaint process on behalf of my son. Parents and students are burdened with many hurdles and obstacles that are currently allowed and encouraged as part of the complaint process. I recognize the need to focus efforts of government bodies and higher level district staff for purposes that require their attention. However, the current adopted VUSD board policies and administrative regulations deferral to resolving complaints in informal ways or outside the state's guidelines for processing complaints has led to a deterioration in this parent's trust for transparency. In some ways, school and district staff are, with good intentions.
Go ahead and finish your sentence.
Taking on those matters that just require the board's oversight and review.
Thank you.
One could say staff are simply.
Oops, I'm sorry. Time was up. Thank you for sharing. And again, the board cannot comment at this time due to the Brown Act. At this time, our last public speaker, as I do not see any additional hands, will be Ms. Carol Peak. But Ms. Peak, please turn off your video prior to giving the audio public comment. Perfect. Thank you. You have 3 minutes. Are you ready?
I am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Carol Peak, and I am the president of the Ventura Education Support Professional Association. I know we're all counting down the days until school ends. I think there are 7 left. This has been another tough year, but as always, the education support professionals stayed strong and took care of our students. I cannot thank each and everyone enough. Thank you for your dedication. Thank you for your professionalism. And most importantly, thank you for loving your students. It doesn't go unnoticed, and I want you all to know that you are all greatly appreciated. I would also like to congratulate our graduating seniors. I know that you will make your teachers, your ESPs, and the entire Ventura Unified School District team proud. So again, congratulations and good luck to each and every one of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And at this time, that is it for public comment. So back to you, Dr. Dannenberg.
Okay. All of a sudden, I think I'm missing a page of my agenda. Hang on. This moves us on to the action items.
Yeah.
So, Ms. Lomax, while I look for another agenda, can you take over, please?
Absolutely. 15A, request for board approval of proposed changes to board bylaw related to Board of Education. And this is a first reading. It's BB 9124, and it's attorney and it's revised. Do we?
Mr. Ramos would like to lead.
Yeah, Mr.
into
Ramos, would you enlighten everyone on what we're talking about here, please?
Sure. So the board decided to have an ad hoc committee to address this particular board policy and the use of or the communication with legal counsel. And one of the concerns or one of the requests was to provide a process in which we would, if the board president or an individual board member were to contact legal counsel, that particular information would be shared by all. But after reviewing our board policy is very clear, our board bylaw is very clear that the superintendent and the president of the board at the time have the ability to communicate with legal counsel as well as, but with limits or parameters established by the board. So one of the suggestions from the committee was to, as I said before, try and communicate with the board, the full board, what those communications are when the board president discusses issues with outside with legal counsel. The other issue is to address the issue that individual board members would not be allowed to contact legal counsel outside the parameters of our board bylaw. So currently our board bylaw indicates that the board president or the superintendent can contact the legal counsel, and the board as a whole can direct the superintendent or the board president to contact legal counsel and ask questions on behalf of the board. The suggestion that we have in order to let the board discuss this in more detail is there is language in there that states that these communications can be limited by and parameters be placed on these communications, but it has to be established by the board. Our suggestion is to have the board have a discussion and place those limits and parameters in the Board of Education's governance handbook. So this is basically a two-step process. One would be to, if the board agrees with the the revision is to go ahead and adopt the revision, and then the next conversation, giving the board some leeway, is to bring the governance handbook back and have the discussion on what limits or parameters, if any, the board would like to put in place. And again, the recommendation from the ad hoc committee was just to make sure that any communications that happen by the board president, and this is not applicable to the superintendent, but by the board president, that the entire board be informed about what those conversations are and what the outcome of those conversations are. Hopefully I described it in enough detail so that if there are any questions, I can go ahead and take them at this time.
Okay, are you ready, Dr. Dannenberg?
Yes, I am.
I was just going to make a comment that because I personally, I feel that because this is a board bylaw and it's going to go into our board handbook, that we should put this to a time when all 5 of us are present. Because we all 5 have to sign the board handbook. I don't know how the rest of you feel about that. Unless there's a time constraint, Mr. Ramos.
There is not a time constraint. That is perfectly acceptable. Your board, the board would just have to agree to that.
Okay. Go ahead, Dr. Dannenberg.
Does anybody have any problem with us postponing this until all 5 of us are together?
No, I think that's the right thing to do.
Okay. Ms. Callahan, do you have any objections?
I do not.
Then we'll move this and ask the staff to bring this back when all 5 of us are at a board meeting. And unfortunately, it won't be the next one because I'll be missing the next board meeting, but after that, I should be here. Okay, let's move on then to 15B, the Ventura Unified School District and the Ventura Educational Support Professionals Association Memorandum of Understanding for the health technicians, first reading. Dr. Chandler?
Yeah, I'm just going to take the beginning part. I'm actually going to have Ms. Crouch step in. So we were awarded a CDPH grant for $350,000 that will allow us to extend the health techs to 8 hours again for next school year, which we are very excited about. And Ms. Crouch met with Ms. Peak and the health techs and had a great conversation. So I'm going to let her share that.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Chandler. Yes, so with the assistance of Ms. Wallowitz and Dr. Chandler, Ms. Peak, Ms. Jackie Lopez, and Mr. Felix Cortez, we were able to come up with this memorandum of understanding. And Ms. Peak and I met with all of the health techs last Friday to go over the MOU and just to talk through all the bullet points with them and answer their questions. And I'll say that the group was very, very appreciative of being offered the opportunity to work 8 hours a day next year. They understand that it's grant funded and the reason for this MOU. And they were also very excited about the insurance benefits that come along with the increased hours. And so they will be letting us know by the end of June what their decision is for next school year, and we will take it from there. So it was a really positive, collaborative meeting, and I really appreciated Ms. Peak being by my side.
Thank you very much. This is a first reading. We do have the option to pass it tonight or bring it back. What is the pleasure of the board? If somebody wants to make a motion, we can go ahead and pass it tonight. If not, we'll have to bring it back.
Make a motion that we approve.
Second the motion.
Okay.
Thank you. Vote as follows. Trustee Peterson?
Yes.
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Callahan?
Yes.
And Trustee Dannenberg?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you. 15C, consideration of resolution 2222 concerning Board of Trustees authority to hold virtual meetings pursuant to AB 361. This is a standard thing that we've been passing every month because of the assembly bill there. So I will entertain a motion to allow us to do this. Doesn't mean we're going to keep meeting. And maybe Dr. Rice, maybe you could give us some idea of when we're going to start meeting in person.
Yeah, our plan right now is to be back in person on the 28th at the district office. We are not quite certain that we will be allowed to City Hall. But we, as you know, we have outfitted a space at the Education Services Center so that we can start meeting in person. This provision simply provides us flexibility in case something happens, because without the resolution passed, if for some reason the building burns down or God forbid the room gets flooded or something, we need to have something in place to protect us. We will still work to communicate with the city to get us back into city council chambers, but we are prepared to go back to in-person meetings for the board on the 28th at the newly outfitted room at the ESC. I also want to share that Mr. Ramos reminded me that this provision also covers the board appointed committees, which have made particular use of this provision because their committee members tend to be broadly located and in all kinds of different circumstances, such as the Parcel Tax Oversight Committee, the Declining Enrollment Committee. And so this provision is useful for them, probably more so than for us. So hope that helps answer why we're bringing this forward, but it's not our plan to continue to meet as a board and as a staff together virtually forever. We want to get back to person on the 28th.
Thank you. So with that, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
And a second.
Thank you. Vote as follows. Trustee Peterson?
Yes.
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Callahan?
Yes.
And Trustee Dannenberg?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries 4-0.
With that, we'll move into the conference agenda, educational services, the District English Learner Advisory Committee report, DLAC. Dr. Castro.
Thank you, Vice President Dannenberg and trustees. It's my pleasure to hand this off to Dr. Molinar. This, as you note in the description, this is an annual event, but more than an annual event, this is an opportunity for us to become familiar with an extremely important group. We've just talked about our committees. The DLAC group is under the advisement of Dr. Molinar. And so Dr. Molinar, if you would, and your team, please move forward with the presentation, and thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Castro. Thank you, members of the board. Let me go ahead and share my screen. I'm not able to share my screen right now. There we go.
Right now. Okay.
Thank you. Sorry. They're able to see it? Okay, thank you. Thank you again, members of the board. It is a tremendous opportunity to be able to share our committee's work and their recommendations to the board. This is after our needs assessment each year, we provide the board input on the findings from the survey. Our representatives who were invited to present this evening are Rosa Alvarez, Lourdes Cardona, Jaime Honorato, Maria Honorato, Carlos Mora, and Araceli Raso. And then also our district teacher on special assignment who oversees the coordination of the seals of biliteracy, Ms. Dana Lomax. Our DLAT goals that we measure our survey against and our progress are: is your student's school helping him or her achieve proficiency in English? Is your student's school helping him or her be successful in all academic areas? Is your student's school helping him or her prepare for college and careers in both languages? Is your student participating in any type of community service? Is your student participating in any extracurricular activity? And do you feel that your student's school is meeting your needs as parents or caregivers? This year, we had 171 responses across these various sites. So you'll see in general the participation levels of each of the sites. And we had an opportunity this year also to reach out and to parents specifically to help them in completing the survey over the phone. Goal number 1, Ms. Cardona.
I already burned my soda.
Ms. Cardona, I think you're still on mute. See.
Yeah. Goal 1, achieving proficiency in English. Strength. Small groups for English learners. Teachers are available after class. Recommendations: improved communication regarding support, small groups, intervention, tutoring, Saturday groups to prepare for LPAC, intervention classes, additional teacher for English language development. Logrando el dominio del inglés, nuestras recomendaciones son fortalezas, grupos pequeños para estudiantes de inglés, los maestros están disponibles después de clases. Recomendaciones: mejorar la comunicación con respecto a los apoyos, pequeños grupos, intervención, tutoría, grupos de sábados para preparar para LPAC, clases de intervención, maestros adicionales para el desarrollo del inglés.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Maria Norato, and I'm going to present to you goal number 2, progress in academic areas, recommendations, improve communication regarding supports, small groups, intervention, and reading. More support in math and reading, bilingual teachers to support instruction, intervention groups, homework, small groups to and students, better communicate with parents when students are missing assignments, tutoring support after school. Meta 2.
It looks like Ms. Honorato froze, but that concludes the goal number 2. Goal number 3, students continue toward their education in both languages, career in both languages. So here, some of the recommendations were more bilingual employees or counselors to provide activities that expose students to different careers and the importance of being bilingual. Field trips to universities and motivational speakers. Classes that help students prepare for college, and starting the exposure to college, universities, and careers early on in preschool, TK through 12th grade. And more after school opportunities to support college and careers, and additional trainings for students and parents regarding careers and college in both languages.
And good evening, everyone. I'm really happy to be able to share information regarding recognition for our multilingual learners. And our efforts to support multilingual students in continuing their education towards a career in both languages includes recognizing students' efforts to maintain their home language as they continue to acquire English. And our current recognitions of multilingualism include the Ventura Unified Multilingual Seal that you see on the left-hand side there, and the California State Seal of Biliteracy. These seals acknowledge the community cultural wealth that our students bring and encourage multilingual learners to continue to study their home language as they learn English as well. The seals also help support students in becoming college and career ready. They are actually stickers that go on students' diploma and are noted on their transcripts. And the requirements are slightly different for each seal. For both seals, students must show proficiency in English, proficiency in another world language, and if they are multilingual learners, they need to pass the English Language Proficiency Assessment for California, otherwise known as LPAC. And the main difference between the VUSD seal and the state seal is that the state seal requires students to pass 11th grade ELA CAS portion with a level 3 or above. And here on the slide, you can see the two seals. And if a student earns the VUSD seal, they also get to wear the beautiful teal cord in the middle there. I think it's the prettiest, one of the prettiest cords. The purple TWI cord is also really beautiful. So they get to wear that at graduation. Next slide, please, Sol. So in Ventura Unified, we've been offering a seal of multilingual recognition since 2009, and that's before California had a state seal. And so Jennifer Robles was really key in that work and was innovative, and that was something that started, a long time ago, and we were really trailblazers in that sense. And we've been leaders in these acknowledgements. And so here's our district data for the last 4 years. And so at the top, we see the Ventura Unified Multilingual Recognition Seal. And in 2021, you can see that we had 292 students receive the seal, which was great. And this year we have 295, even more. So that's wonderful. And I'm not sure exactly where we are with declining enrollment to compare the number of people who were seniors at the time, but still we were going in the right direction with the VUSD seal. For the state seal of biliteracy, we can see in 2021, we had 243 seniors. This is a recognition for seniors. And so seniors, 243 received the California State Seal of Biliteracy. One thing to note there about that number, the 243, is at that time, 2020 is when COVID started and CAS was optional from the state at that time. In 2021, when students in 11th grade, 2020, CAS was optional. When students got to be seniors, CAS was not a requirement last year for the state seal. It always has been, except for that 1 year. So we had a lot of students receive the state seal, which was awesome. This year, we've only had 137 students receive the seal. There was a lot of confusion last year. The students thought, well, it wasn't necessary the year before. We did seal talks. We put on the form, if you opt out of CASP in 11th grade, you won't be able to get the state seal. But even with all of that information, many students opted out or did not pass CASP. So we have a lower number this year. But thanks to Dr. Castro, we have some systems in place now. Dr. Castro, working with Dr. Molinar and Dr. Rickard, have put together a system in which if a student family opts out of 11th grade CASP, their name goes to the call center, and that family receives a call to let them know that if they opt out of 11th grade ELA, they will not be eligible for the California State Seal of Biliteracy. So now that process has been streamlined to ensure that in the future, families, it's clear that they know and they've been contacted. And this year, many families have changed their mind about the ELA portion of CASP and opted back in after having opted out. So that's good news. Next slide, please, Sol. This is great. We can see the data by site. I just want to point out some highlights here. We have a lot of our multilingual students applying for the seals, which is great. For the state seal, we had recipients in Spanish, German, French, Italian, Chinese, Tagalog, and Albanian. And for that state seal, we now have a process by which an outside evaluator can offer tests in languages that there are not AP tests in. For example, Albanian. That we don't offer a course in Albanian. We don't offer the AP test in Albanian. So the SOBIL, the Seal of Biliteracy test, can be given in its place. So that's exciting. And we had one student pass that test in Albanian and another one who passed in Tagalog. For the VUSD seal, we had recipients in Spanish, German, French, Italian, Arabic, Dutch, Chinese, Tagalog, Albanian, Japanese, and Korean this year, for a total of 295 seals. So exciting. A lot of languages were represented. Next slide, please, Sol. Some proposed changes for the seal process for next year. We want to redo the application to reflect the addition of that test I was talking about. It's called the APPLE or the SOBL. The APPLE is the Actful Assessment of Performance Toward Proficiency in Languages, the AAPPL, or the State Seal of Biliteracy Test, Oral Biliteracy Test. So we're going to add those to the application. We're going to identify systems to streamline the application process. Hopefully, seniors may not even have to work with technology. We can identify who's eligible, and then we reach out to them directly. They'll still probably need to fill out some kind of application so that we know who's applying, and they may need district assessments or to take the SOBL. But we can reach out to them. That will remove barriers for students who haven't had access to these recognitions in the past. We'll start that process by looking at redesignated students. That means they have another home language, so we know that they have that world language piece in place. And so we'll start with our redesignated students and reach out to them first. We'll continue to inform families about the importance of taking that ELA CASP test in 11th grade. And we'll talk to them not only in 11th grade, but we do SEAL talks from 8th to 12th grade. We go to world language classes as well as English classes and English department meetings to talk to teachers about the process for the SEAL. We'll also share with multilingual learners the importance of passing LPAC because that is a requirement for both SEALs. And then next year, we're excited, we're going to add another SEAL called the Home Language Development SEAL. And so if you please go to the next slide. Again, Ventura has been a leader in recognizing multilingualism. The state just this year implemented 3 new programs. The Biliteracy Program Participation Recognition, recognizing students who are in dual language classrooms. And the University of California is now asking on their application how many years students have been in dual language programs at the high school level, which is exciting since we have a K-12 program. But we've been recognizing participants in our TWI programs at the 5th and 8th grade level for many years now. So again, we're ahead of the state. This home language development recognition we're going to add next year. It asks that emergent bilinguals, if we identify students who are working on their home language in age-appropriate ways, they can also be recognized for their efforts. And then finally, the biliteracy attainment recognition. This is, we've been doing this as well. We've been offering various assessments for students and various pathways for students to show that they can read, write, speak, and listen in English and another world language. And they receive SEALs at the 8th grade and 12th grade levels. So that's our VUSD SEAL and our 8th grade pathway SEAL. So that's what's new on the horizon, that middle SEAL there. And here's a nice little visual of what it looks like. So starting in kindergarten, we'll have some recognitions for students in TWI programs. We'll recognize them at 5th grade as well for their home language, and also if they're in TWI programs and attaining biliteracy. In 8th grade, they'll show that they can meet certain proficiency for that bilingual recognition. And then 12th grade, the VUSD and California State SEALs. So really, it's wonderful to see that about 25% of our seniors showed that they were multilingual and are receiving the VUSD SEAL, and 11% of our seniors are receiving the California State SEAL. So they're well on their way to proficiency in both languages. Thank you.
Thank you. And then goal 4, participation in community service. Mr. Mora?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Carlos Mora, and I'm going to present goal number 4. Goal number 4, participation in community service recommendations. Increase information about types of community service and how to get involved. Increase outreach to multilingual families. Field trips in person or virtual. List of community service organization or opportunities. Access to the community resource and activities. Meta número 4, participación en servicio comunitario, recomendaciones, mayor información sobre los tipos de servicio comunitario y cómo participar, mayor alcance a las familias multilingües, excursión en persona o virtual, lista de organizaciones u oportunidades de servicio comunitario, acceso a recursos y actividades comunitarias.
Thank you.
Voy a presentar la número 5 también.
Before we move on to goal 5, I know in our discussion around participation in community service, we recognize that during this time of COVID, we do not have many opportunities for community service, but as they begin to open up, we saw possibly an opportunity to connect with our ELOP programs and see how we can get students involved and connected to community service and to members of our community. Goal 5.
Goal 5, participation in extracurricular activities, recommendation, strengths, program enrichment for after-school kids, PIC, Harmony Project, music program, recommendations, more information in various languages about activities, personal outreach, motivate students to participate in extracurricular activities, awareness of activities and how to participate. More sports activities at the middle school, music, art, sport, transportation, greater access and participation to clubs. Meta 5, participación en actividades extracurriculares, recomendaciones, fortalezas, PIC, proyecto Harmonic, programa de música, recomendaciones. Más información en distintos idiomas sobre las actividades, invitaciones personales, motivar a los estudiantes para participar en las actividades extracurriculares, información sobre las actividades y cómo participar, más actividades deportivas en la secundaria, música, arte, deportes, transportación, más acceso y participación a los clubes. Gracias. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, more opportunities to connect with our extended learning opportunities program. And goal 6, how is your school meeting your needs as parents or caregivers?
Strength. District call center, strong parents communication, translation, caring and friendly service, parent meeting in Spanish, quick responses to needs, recommendation. Provide more information and support of mental health services, resources and support for bullying issues. Meta número 6. ¿De qué manera su escuela satisface sus necesidades como padre o cuidador? Fortalezas. Centro de llamadas del distrito, sólida comunicación con los padres, traducciones, servicio amable y amistoso, reuniones en español para padres, respuesta rápida a sus necesidades. Recomendaciones. Proveer más información y respaldo sobre servicios de salud mental, recursos y apoyo por el acoso.
Thank you so much again to our families who are here this evening and our district staff to present. I appreciate all of your support and your time in this presentation and throughout the year. Thank you. Muchísimas gracias a nuestras familias por estar aquí y por su trabajo por todo el año.
I too would like to thank all the families and the parents for participating. It's great to have you here and really appreciate your supporting the school and the program and giving us suggestions for improvement. With that, we'll see if there are any questions from any board members. Mr. Peterson?
I don't have any questions. I'm just jealous that I can't speak 2 languages.
Ms. Lomax?
I have to agree there. I always appreciate this presentation, and I think your recommendations, believe me, they will not fall on deaf ears. And thank you for participating.
Ms. Callahan?
I too want to say thank you. I did have a quick question. I know it's getting a little late, but there was on there about recommendations for clubs. So I didn't know, and believe me, this is just on the spot. So, but is there a club or two that is an example on that? I was just curious to see that, and all the parents here. And thank you for sharing. And Ms. Lomax, thank you for sharing and outlining the intricacies of the seal and what we offer. That was actually, I don't know if you saw, but I was taking screenshots with my cell phone because that was fascinating. I would like to share that out. So thank you for spotlighting and anchoring that for our information. But again, kind of going back for just curious about some clubs.
So Trustee Callahan, when we look at middle schools and high schools especially, there are many clubs that happen at lunchtime or after school. And I know that many of those are in existence already. So we felt like in our discussion, it was more about kind of how do we provide that personal invitation to some of our multilingual learners? How do we create a stronger awareness around our communities and parents to be sure that they, one, have an awareness of those clubs and also receive that personal invitation to participate?
Thank you. Thanks for that clarification.
I don't have any questions. Just again, I'd like to thank everybody for the presentation. Would like to make a comment, though, that all 5 of my grandchildren have gone through the dual immersion program, and I highly encourage any parent to explore that program because it's a great opportunity for your child to learn 2 languages, and it's been very successful for all my grandchildren. So thank you all once again. With that, we'll move on to the next item, which is the Healthy Schools Program. Dr. Castro.
Thank you again, Vice President Dannenberg and trustees. You will be hearing my voice extensively on the next item. So I'm going to pass this on to my trusted colleague, Dr. Chandler.
Thank you, Dr. Castro. So the board had requested that we bring this back in an open session item. And I want to talk to you about how we are expanding and reimagining the Healthy Schools activities and bringing that through with the farm as well. So next year, I have some really exciting news for all of our schools. We are bringing back salad bars, which have been on a 3-year hiatus at all of our schools, with the exception of Pacific, but they do have a farm on their campus, but it's too small of a space for us to do a full salad bar. So there we just offer many more vegetables and fruit servings. Along with that, we have several people in the food and nutrition services who are very interested in doing what we had done historically, which was to promote the tastings that we did in the classrooms, which was really exciting. And with the after school clubs where they did cooking lessons and healthy food lessons. So we're excited about that because we would love to bring that back as well. We also, along with the ranch, we are hiring a TK through 8 TOSA to help develop lessons for the ranch. And these lessons can be taught both at the ranch or at the school site. And we're working on integrating those to see what that looks like. We are also hiring a 50% CTE support specialist at the ranch. These are both grant funded positions through our recent CTE grant fundings. And so the support specialist at the ranch will be helping to schedule field trips and helping to schedule classroom visits. So we're excited about that too. And we're also hiring a special ed career development support specialist to help integrate the SPED classes into the ranch as well. And of course, last but not least, of course, we still have our 50% Healthy Schools person who will continue to support the classroom education. And we're trying, I believe over the summer, they will be working through the details of these programs and how they will integrate. But we wanted to give the board an opportunity to speak publicly about these. And we wanted our community to know that healthy food and, eating well and fresh vegetables and understanding where food comes from and grows from and learning all the science behind our food is a goal that we are working on. So I'm happy to take any questions or answer any questions or have the trustees weigh in with your opinions.
Okay. Mr. Peterson, do you have any questions or comments on this item?
No, I just think that food nutrition and education about food, what types, what it can do for you is absolutely important.
Okay, Ms. Lomax?
I just have is this for clarification purposes? What you're suggesting sounds really great. I just am curious, how much of a change will that be from what we have now?
Well, that's a great question. So what we have now only serves the Title I schools, and our goal is to serve all of our schools in the district. So the grant funding through CTE allows us to do that, where the prior grant funding that we had for the Healthy Schools Project did not. It only allowed us to serve the Title I schools. So we're excited to be able to open this up. I know that the goal when we were writing the grant for the ranch was to have 2 to 3 field trips a day. And there is, money written into the grant for transportation. There's money written into the grant for a person to organize all of that. And so it's exciting because we too love our Healthy Schools program, and we want to be able to offer more, better, current, farm-based activities. But I couldn't tell you exactly what it looks like until we kind of work out the programmatic pieces with the team, which would be falling under mostly Dr. Rickard.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Callahan, do you have any questions or concerns?
I don't at this time. I appreciate providing the outline of what would change, is actually kind of being incorporated and integrated into the existing grant. So I appreciate that being outlined. I know that we've heard a lot of concerns about that it's kind of going away. And to me, it sounds like there are elements of the program that are just being streamlined and incorporated and housed under a different grant funding. And then also articulated into a pathway, which sounds fantastic. And also, it's my understanding will be serving additional students and different populations that we quite possibly didn't serve before. I do want to ask, and I know this is a trivial piece, but are we going to still have the calendar? You know, that wonderful calendar?
Oh, yeah. That won't go away.
And the artist, and I love that.
Yeah.
And each month, for those of you don't see the calendar, I get to, because I do have students in VUSD, and it's so fun to see that there's a farm featured and the art. So all of that's going to still stay.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm hearing. Okay.
And I will tell you, the salad bar is in addition to our hope. So we had a salad bar at most of our schools for many, many years. COVID kind of took our salad bars away because it had to. We have been given the green light to bring it back next year, which we're super excited about. And we're actually hoping it will reduce food waste, because sometimes when kids get to choose what they really want, then they're not given just a whole bunch of stuff. So you will still have the menu. There will still be that option, but the additional option will be to make a salad from the salad bar as well.
And I know, one other piece that we've heard just a lot from our community and our families is having actual services and support programmatic pieces on site. And from what I'm hearing is, there are field trips to the farm, but there's still going to be things that are happening at the actual school site. And we actually even have someone funded to coordinate that piece.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it for me. Thank you.
Okay, and I see that Trustee Rodriguez has been able to join us, and she has her hand up. So, Ms. Rodriguez, it's up to you.
Thanks, Dr. Dannenberg. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I apologize. I'm in the car driving home from LAX, as you know. So, but this is obviously an important issue for me, and I wanted to make sure to ask a few questions. One of the questions I have is, I know you mentioned that there will be a part-time person who will be able to provide in-class instruction. Do you have a sense yet of what that will look like compared to what it was before? And I can appreciate that in the past it was only Title I schools, but my understanding is that those Title I schools did get kind of weekly visits. So are we looking at something similar?
So I will say that from what we've been able to see this year, at least it doesn't look like they were weekly visits necessarily to all the Title I school sites. They did quite a few visits. But my hope is that 50% person, because she's been doing this for so long, and we have several food and nutrition people right now who are very interested in doing very similar lessons, that they would she would help in training the food nutrition workers who want to do this as well. So that's my hope. So then it would allow us to offer more offerings on the site, and also support our salad bars and support kids eating fresh food, but also having that person with all the experience help train the people who are just starting out in this process, because they have a well vetted program that they've used for many years. So we will help update that, help integrate it to the farm too, and then also still try to support as much classroom as we can through that process.
Okay, and then a follow-up question to that. I know one of the other key components that a lot of teachers, reached out to us about was the actual maintenance of the school gardens. And so I was curious, is that something that our nutrition staff then is going to be involved in?
I think probably not our nutrition staff, but it doesn't mean that there isn't somebody else on staff that might be able to help with that. Because we're going to have now the ranch manager, Mike Etchart, we'll have the K-8 TOSA, and we'll have the SPED career development support specialist. So I'm hoping that between those bodies, we can start expanding the stuff that we're growing at the farm so that we can have miniature versions of that at their school sites and be able to work that with our existing staff and support it in a sustainable way through the CTE funding. That's our hope.
Okay, thank you. And then my final concern, and I would love to get an update once these details have been threshed out from, I recognize that this has kind of been an evolving issue. And so when you have some time over the summer and you have a better sense of how this is going to look in implementation, would love to get a follow-up. But my final question is, I did get an email, which I shared with Dr. Rice from the City of Ventura's environmental staff, saying that, their partnership with us around issues like composting and issues of environmental stewardship has largely been around through the Healthy School program up until now. And so I was curious if there's a plan for how that will move forward now in this new role.
Sorry to interrupt you. Yes, I did see that email. And so Kara Muniz, our food and nutrition director, has met multiple times with the city to discuss that, because that particular program, that particular law that passed, is about schools composting their food waste. And so Kara is the one that will be in charge. Ms. Muniz will be in charge of ensuring that our food is getting composted. Where the city is stepping in and has helped us is with the river bends. And so that has also gone through facilities and through Kara Muniz, through Robbie Pennington and Kara Muniz have been working on the city with that. We have several river bins currently, and those are those very large trash cans that have compost, recycling, and then trash. I don't know if you've seen them, but the ordinance is that first we compost our food waste, and then the second part of that is that we actually collaborate with a food donation center that takes food for people in need. So at the end of the day, our cafeterias would then eventually be donating to those organizations which we choose to take the leftover food at the end of the day so it doesn't go to waste. So those pieces have been picked up through food and nutrition and facilities, and they're working hand in hand with the city on it.
Okay, great. Thank you. I mean, I know in the past, I've seen the Healthy Schools staff working in the garden with our compost and teaching kids about that. So I would love to see that kind of circle remains closed on our campuses so that kids have a chance to see not just, eating healthy food and learning healthy recipes, but also understanding that cycle and appreciating their role in that. But thank you for the update. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. And we will make sure that that is still part of the process. Dr. Rickard, do you have anything to add that I missed? No.
I would like to thank you for the putting this on the agenda. And as Trustee Rodriguez said, we'll be interested in hearing the updates that you have as we develop the programs more. So thank you for putting this on the agenda. Next on the agenda, we'll move on to the 2021 through 24 Local Control Accountability Plan overview and discussion. Dr. Castro.
Thank you again, Vice President Dannenberg, trustees, and welcome, President Rodriguez. Before I share my screen to walk you through some of the changes to the LCAP, I do want to provide some background because the development of the LCAP is an ongoing and progressive process. And this process actually began last year. So the board, every 3 years, has the opportunity to approve a 3-year LCAP. So just as Trustee Dannenberg just shared, the last year the board took action to approve a 21 through 24 3-year LCAP. That said, the state is part of the development and ongoing living nature of this document, and it is not just a fiscal document. It is not just an academic document, but it's a living document. So we revisit that plan on an annual basis and provide ongoing input and updates. This year, for the first time in the process of the LCAP, we were provided a mid-year report. That is the first time in the history of the state where we were provided that. The board received that, the community received that in a board meeting in February of 2022. In that, you received a mid-year update in terms of all the actions that were in process, the types of expenditures that were current at that time, and the updated metrics that go along that way. Between then and the next meeting in June 28th, we continue to update the LCAP. There is another step along this process where in between now and the 28th, and again after the 28th, we engage the Ventura County Office of Education for formal compliance feedback, and they're an ultimate approval. And lastly, another element and a critical element of the LCAP is stakeholder engagement. These meetings, all like them, all of our councils, every interaction, including our surveys, in particular, the work that our LCAP advisory committee does, all of that process is reflected in the final version of the LCAP. So I do want to share that the board has expressed its desire to continue to improve our community input. So I did want to share some numbers that our student LCAP input in the surveys increased from 630 to over almost 1,600 participants this year. Our parent LCAP survey increased from about 900 to over 1,300 this year. Most notably, our community inputs went from 51 last year to over 600 this year, and our staff remained about the same, but still an increase of 429 to just over 470. So again, all of this data is critical, although it is reflected in the LCAP. Another piece to consider is that, again, making some connections, the board allowed us to contract with Dr. Christensen. Dr. Christensen is in the process of creating a searchable database that will be not just utilized for our principals, but also then the principals could use this searchable database with their school site councils, for example, to be able to then take this data and disaggregate it and search by certain terms that's unique to their school sites. This is in a beta form, but I also wanted to make some explicit connections about how this, because this is a living document and a living process, how all of these inputs continue to shape the types of actions and the types of supports that we provide on an ongoing basis. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I know that's a lot of background, but it's all necessary in terms of where we go from here. Just orienting my screen so I can see any questions that you might have. Okay, so again, last year, the board approved 3 LCAP goals. I would like to, on behalf of staff and the community, appreciate the board for additional clarification through the board goals and priorities. You will see in particular the focus on literacy as a new action in our goal 1 section, and that's a direct result of the board's strategic priorities. So again, thank you for that direction. These LCAP goals remain unchanged and will remain unchanged for the next 2 years. Similar to last year, our funding remains relatively the same, just around $16.5 million. On the next item, Dr. Chandler and Anna Campbell will be talking a much bigger, broader focus on the budget, but this is a small sliver, and this small sliver is designed to focus on our unduplicated students, our low income, our English learners, and our foster youth. If you look at the second bullet, I'll just summarize it, but it essentially says that districts that have in excess of 55% of unduplicated students are allowed to plan on a district-wide basis. This is really important because many of the actions that we have are implemented on a district-wide basis. Not all, but most are. When we do that, however, we have to demonstrate that those actions are principally directed with the intent to increase or improve service for those students that generate these funds. You'll see in the charts that then when an action is considered to be contributing to that aim, we mark yes, that it is a contributing action. Versus you will see some actions, as they were in the last year, are not. In your board memo, you saw that we will be adding 2 new actions, and these actions are an example of that, and we'll see that momentarily. So in goal 1, you'll note that on this actions 1.1 to 1.6 remain unchanged, and yet 1.5, the NGSS curriculum adoption, which took place this year, you'll note no longer has funding associated with it because that purchase, the acquisition of the curriculum already took place. However, as we've learned through COVID, things that used to take a year no longer take a year. And so we will continue to revisit the implementation of NGSS. These are generally things that take 3 to 5 years, but in particular in this first year, we saw the need and we've received feedback that we need to continue to support the rollout and the implementation of the curriculum itself. So although there is no funding attached to it, it remains a priority. In this next set of actions with goal 1 from 1.7 to 113, you'll note again action 1.9 through 1.12 show as not contributing. That is because those are non-supplemental and concentration utilized funds. In the overall budget, we ended up not needing to apply for the waiver because we were able to find many, in particular, in the implementation of additional counseling services and an array of other supports. We were able to make use of almost all of our Title I carryover funds. In action 1.10, these are additional supplies. As you can see, there's a separate fund, which is the lottery fund. 1.11 is not contributing because it comes from parcel tax. And as I shared in your board memo, and recently the board approved the adoption of our history social science curriculum for our elementary. That is also a non-supplemental and concentration fund. Where you see the reflection of the board's action on the literacy teams is on action 113. That is a contributing allocation. And the amount that's there is based on our current projected budget. I know that Dr. Chandler and Anna Campbell will be talking about how we are budgeting and how we foresee some of these budgets shifting and changing. Please know that it is our intention that as we are assured additional funds, in particular those that are aligned with LCFF in support of our unduplicated students, we will make this a bigger and broader priority going forward. So that is absolutely our intention. And these numbers are based on current projected budgets. Similar to last year, what you will see is on the descriptions of what these actions actually accomplish are essentially maintaining. I, again, would like to provide our appreciation to the board for your trust in our ability and our intention to manage one-time funds to be able to use our ongoing funds, things like the LCAP funds, in coordination with title funds and other one-time funds that come from the state, to be able to expand and amplify the services and supports that we have to our districts and our students and their families. So you will not see new processes here, but what you will see is the maintaining of things that were approved last year. So you will see an array of supports. We will continue to provide additional staffing, additional sections, additional flexibility. And remember, in an era of declining enrollment, the fact that we are maintaining these is a huge win for us, for our students, and for our staff as we continue to adjust to having smaller numbers of students to serve. In Goal 2, you will see an array of actions. These remain unchanged. But Action 2.5, you will no longer see funds allocated for that purpose. Anna Campbell can discuss some of the shifts that occurred at the federal level as it relates to the federal support for free meals. So that continues to be a focus and a priority, but it's no longer a funded action. And again, you'll see the types of supports that we have, these resources fund, all the way down from providing additional counseling supports, which is a board priority, to providing SEL supports. We heard from our DLAC a need for making mental health services more accessible. We also heard that in our LCAP surveys. So that is an area of emphasis. We'll continue to refine as the year goes on. And because we are not yet out of COVID, we continue to maintain higher levels of health supports. We heard earlier from Andrea about how that's being augmented by our health techs. Finally, in Goal 3, you will see no changes to the actions there. But again, Dr. Molinar in her DLAC report touched on this, but I do want to acknowledge some of the struggles that we had, and you received this update in the mid-year report. Oh, excuse me. We had a stated priority to further engage families in an ongoing and more purposeful manner this year. We were unable to meet the types of supports and expansions, but this is an area of emphasis for this upcoming year. And you'll note that on Action 3.2. However, there are some successes in Goal 3 in particular as it relates to our African-American community engagement. We did bring on the liaison. That liaison, Robin Freeman, has been an integral part, not just of the AAPC council, but also in the actions and her integration of the supports and of our focus on our African-American youth with our campuses and our principals. And you've received a report from her through the AAPC group. And so moving forward, again, there is nothing new here, but the thing that we should take great pride in is that we continue to maintain this high level of support for our families, in particular those who are unduplicated. But because again, we have as a district, we exceed a 55% unduplicated count. Many, if not most, of these actions continue to be implemented district-wide. And with that, I will stop sharing my screen and invite any questions you might have.
Mr. Peterson, do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions at this time.
Okay. Mrs. Lomax, do you have any questions?
No, but I just appreciate all the work and the information. Thank you.
Ms. Callahan?
I do. I appreciate that this is well prepared, well outlined. Thank you so much for your presentation. And I think to continually share that in an era of declining enrollment and for us to be able to continue to expand and amplify, to use your words, which I love, is really is something to be proud of. So I appreciate that. I did have a question, and thank you so much also for the survey results and how many have participated. I know that's something that we've been working on for a few years. So to see that kind of direct input from our stakeholders is fabulous. So thank you so much for sharing that piece. I do, I'm wondering about, I know that we had shared about literacy being a priority. And I appreciate you also, I never knew this, about the 55% unduplicated construct district-wide plans and that whole piece, as long as it's principally directed to increase and improve services for unduplicated students. So I'm just kind of wondering if an inquiry is, between now and our final draft or iteration, and maybe even for next year's LCAP process, is how we're going to continue to kind of tease out and expand and amplify literacy, and specifically literacy for all, but then obviously with the principal focus on our unduplicated students. And as I've shared for, I've only been on the board for maybe this is my second round of LCAP, but especially for our English learners that are included, and really, kind of tease it out and make sure that it's anchored in our reporting and in our funding source. I also I was kind of looking at, and I appreciate you even kind of including in this, it's so well organized, but including the goal or including the item, but then not including the budgetary piece because it's already been funded, but that does not mean that it's not a part of the LCAP, right? So having that interoperability and that connection is so important, and I appreciate you kind of weaving that all together. But I am looking at, so I was talking about the literacy teams on 113, but I'm just wondering, is there other supports or needs that you guys can see in your planning, almost similarly like the healthy schools, as you're kind of looking into a summer is a good time to kind of be reflecting and doing some of this work. Is there something more to amplify and expand literacy in addition to these literacy teams? So just want to kind of point that out. Also, I was noticing, and please, and I know that there's probably an answer, so I'm not critiquing or anything, but on goal 2, provide a safe and secure environment for all staff and students. For 2.3, the homeless and foster youth liaison, that's for an actual personnel person, right? Okay, and because I know that in our LCAP and in your mid report, we have to show outcomes, right? We can't just say, here's our goals and here's what our projected outcomes are, but we actually have to show how we are meeting those and also meeting those for unduplicated students. So I just want to make sure, are we doing enough for our youth and foster and homeless youth? Because they are absolutely one of the identified in the LCAP and LCFF. And so I kind of look to you guys about that, but maybe it's already kind of integrated into some of our district-wide plans. And I'm sure it's in here somewhere, but I surely hope our African American Parent Advisory Council get to attend, or there's some sort of professional development with CASA or some of our other areas. But and I'm sure that's getting a little granular, but obviously in expanding and amplifying, a lot of this is around professional development and collaboration with other like-minded groups, just like you and I all get to do professionally. But how can we maybe take some of these groups like our DLAC or our APAC or even PAC to be able to socialize and collaborate with other groups? So that's, and then my last thing is, you shared about this amazing, and I love data, and I just love seeing what our surveys have shared. And I did jot down the number. I don't have them exactly, but I'm kind of counting over 2,000 surveys total with all of our groups. I would be interested to kind of see what were some of the salient points, that came out of this. And I know you guys have already put that into this, but I'm even one of those people that kind of like to see what did they say, and I feel, I guess here's a question. Are there plans to use this survey? Because we worked a year on this, right? I was on the LCAP committee as well as Dr. Dannenberg, but we have this feedback, which is fantastic. Is there other avenues that we're going to be using this input a part of our process in addition to the LCAP?
Okay, I think I've captured all of your questions, so I'm going to proceed through them as quickly as I can. The focus on literacy is a huge topic, but I'm going to try and condense it into so that we understand, we can have a sense of like how comprehensive this will be. The LCAP funding is not mutually exclusive from other funding and from other personnel that are funded outside of the LCAP. So we're talking about dedicated personnel funded through the LCAP with the intention of making marked differences that are principally directed toward our unduplicated students, which, as you noted, our English learners are one of them. However, we will be bringing on other staff that will be funded by other funding sources, for example, like Title II, like Title III, like through our educator effectiveness. And we are talking about a multidisciplinary team to affect this. And to make one more direct connection, this literacy team will also be working with our Expanded Learning Opportunities program, because one of the beautiful things about the Expanded Learning Opportunities program is that we do get to extend the way that we go about addressing literacy on an ongoing basis through that plan. The other beauty of it is that our focus will be on early literacy, so a focus from preschool to probably second or third grade, which of course we have personnel who are funded already who will become a part of that team, but it will be driven and coordinated by that team itself. So I hope that answers that question. You talked about the AAPC role. That we are providing ongoing professional development. Dr. Molinar can share some of the things that we actually tried to get off the ground this year, in addition to what was already planned. There were a couple of roadblocks. One was just transportation. Two were COVID protocols. Another general one was our desire to get feedback from the AAPC group. And there are they had some recommendations for us. So Dr. Molinar, I don't know if you can share just some of the recommendations that related to what the parents had asked for in terms of their own professional learning. Before you mute yourself though, I do want to share so that everyone is aware that actually is one of our actions broadly. So we have funding set aside to provide professional learning and support for families to support all families, and which ties into one of the questions that you asked about the survey, which I'll come back to again after Dr. Molinar speaks. But one of the things that families have asked for is support and ongoing learning support, and we can talk more about that. But one of them is their own learning. So Dr. Molinar, what can you share related to AAPC specifically?
So at our last board presentation, when AAPC presented, one of those areas that we were going to focus on this upcoming year was specifically what you mentioned, Trustee Callahan, was participation in CASA and being able to attend that professional development, to be a part of that network. At our last meeting, we had 3 recommendations or volunteers of participants who would like to attend. And so we're ready to start the new year with those 3 volunteers. And they are super excited about it. We are as well. Also, our group is really focused on just bringing in more members. So as we reach out and connect with other groups, how can we boost our participation in the AAPC, bringing people along. And I think also, as Dr. Castro mentioned, as COVID kind of opens up those doors, we'll have chances to really personally connect. I know Ms. Friedman wants to have more of an opportunity to be able to get on those campuses more freely, and then also connect with other AAPCs across the state.
Dr. Castro, if I could just jump in and add, I appreciate the conversation and the call for professional development. And what I would say is we are so incredibly blessed to have Robin Freeman facilitating that group, because she provides professional development to all of the attendees, including myself, pretty much every meeting. And I've been at several of the meetings, and that professional development goes both ways. You know, in much the same way that we heard from our DLAC parents this evening, educating us on what their students need and what their students want and what the community needs and what the parents want. The same thing happens at the APAC meetings. And I'm sure Dr. Molinar and Ms. Lomax, Dana Lomax, would concur that we learn something new from them every meeting. So there's a cross-curricular value to and professional development that happens in these meetings.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rice. I'll just conclude my responses by looping back around to the LCAP survey. As I shared, we are fortunate to be able to work with Dr. Christensen, who is creating a searchable database for our leaders. And again, that's in a very, very beta form. But in terms of your question about how these results are shared, as you know, the LCAP Advisory Committee had an opportunity to review these LCAP results as they were coming in. We will post these finalized results, not the searchable database yet, but the finalized results from the actual surveys in those that are aggregated in the shared folders, and we'll send that out to the LCAP Advisory Committee just so it's there. But I think I've already shared in terms of what happens from there and how we'll use this data. And I'll take the opportunity also to talk about the fact that we're in the cycle year for the California Healthy Kids Survey. That that survey has been administered, but is not yet available to districts. But as soon as that information is available, that same thing will hold true. We will take that information as it's disaggregated by WestEd, make that available to our principals, and that will become a part of their planning purposes. So I hope that I've addressed all of the questions, but I'm willing to do more if you have any more.
Okay, moving on to Ms. Rodriguez.
Dr. Dannenberg's like, we are moving along, but no, I appreciate you answering all those questions. You know, this is my baby, is the LCAP and our process. And I just want to just share great gratitude. I think that the way we engage and request and provide and cycle in the input that we receive from our stakeholders is phenomenal. And I'm just really proud of our team for the work that you guys have led, because I know it's not an easy endeavor, especially with COVID. So thank you very much.
All right, Ms. Rodriguez.
Thank you. Actually, some of my questions are already answered, but I did want to just thank the entire Ed Services and Communications team for the outreach that was done this year around the LCAP and getting feedback. It's a huge leap forward for us as a district to really be engaging with our community in that way. And I appreciate also that sharing back of information with our principals in particular. I think that's a great way to connect that data back to the people who oftentimes in the school site council setting are making those decisions. And I think that's really helpful for them to have that feedback. So thanks for the good work. And I did have one small question, but I'll just ask you that offline. Thank you.
Okay, and I have no questions. Just like thank staff for all their hard work. And somehow there's another hand that's appeared on my screen someplace. I don't know if that. Okay, there it goes. Okay, I think we're good. Okay, let's move on to the next item, which is the conference businesses item regarding the 2022-23 original budget. Dr. Chandler.
Thank you so much, Trustee Dannenberg. And I am going to ask Miss Anna Campbell to share her screen because I am still on a loaner computer, which is a bummer. Okay. So this is, and Anna, feel free to jump in if you want to add anything. but I'm happy to do this. This is our budget report for the 22-23 school year. And Anna, you can jump to the next slide. So we show you this every time we come around, like where are we in our cycle? And right now we are at the June 7th, right there, estimated actuals plus original budget draft. And we're going to bring it back to you again on June 28th for the final. One thing that I do want to say that you will see, it says on July/August 2022, you see it says in red, new revised original budget if state budget is significantly different. Because as we have tried to explain last time, there is great varying in the governor's original proposal, the May revise, and what legislation is working with now due to a large increase in money, which is great. But we're going to move to the next slide so we can show you what that looks like. So this original draft was made slightly conservative. The way we did this one was based off of our actual enrollment and our ADA, our average daily attendance. So the way that we get money is based off the number of students who attend and how often they attend. And you will see in the 22, 23, 23, 24, 24, 25, that the projected number of students is continuing to decline. And we anticipate that very much so. So you will also notice that the revenues, then we compare revenues to expenditures. And you will see below in the red that we're overspending what our revenue is. Part of those costs are the ongoing COVID costs that we are still spending down. But you'll also see that part of that is that there's a reduction in revenue as our students go down, which is why we have the declining enrollment committee. This is exactly why, right? So I want you to know that, because more than likely when we submit our budget, the county will also point this out. The deficit spending is what they call it. Down on the bottom, you can see the undesignated fund balance. And at the end of 22-23, we're at about $8.5 million. Then the following year, 3.5. And then the following year, we budget to 0. And that's kind of how Ventura has always budgeted. So let's move on to, or if there's any questions at any point, you guys are welcome to stop and ask me questions. So the 22-23 budget overview, if we continue counting our number of students and our regular ADA, and the hold harmless goes away, the hold harmless basically made it so that we were using enrollment numbers from a few years ago to allow us to get more revenue. If that goes away and they don't pick up the average of 3 years on your ADA, on our ADA, then this is what our total funding looks like. And you can see the breakdowns. You can see the supplemental concentration. That's where LCAP comes from. You can see the adjusted gross base. That's remember we talked about last time, like the grade spans plus the base grants, all of those combined together. And then you can see, the concentration and supplemental is for the unduplicated learners, which you can see listed to the left. And then there's this home to school transportation add-ons, which hopefully will be increasing. We shall see. But if you look at our total LCFF funding, it's about $156 million. I'm going to have you move to the next slide, Anna. If we get the average over 3 years ADA, our total LCF funding jumps up to almost $165 million. That's a huge difference. It's like $9 million difference. So that's why it's much easier to say we're adding $9 million into the budget than it is to say we're taking $9 million away from the budget. So we chose to go the conservative route. And so you will see that in our budget. So if this new model comes out, we will probably find out sometime in mid-July, hopefully. And then we will come back to you with a revised budget, because obviously if we had $9 to $10 million more than we did in our original budget, we would need to come back and revise that. So I'm going to have you jump to the next slide. The other thing that we just wanted to point out to the board is the ESSER 3 money that is still carrying forward into the 22, 23, 23, 24, and so on. So that's part of deficit spending, right? Because we can only count this COVID money as one-time money, one-time option. Next slide. Okay, so our final steps, we're going to finalize the budget for you on June 28th. Then we'll submit the budget to VCOE, and then we'll wait to see what the state actually allocates. This is Trustee Peterson, welcome to our backward system where we submit a budget for something that we don't know exactly what we're getting yet. But this is how the state model runs. So we'll find out in July, and we're hoping that we will get the larger of the two. And if we do, we'll come back to you with a revised budget in August. And I am happy to take any questions. Or Anna, if I missed anything, please feel free to jump in.
Mr. Peterson, do you have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions, but I just want to thank you guys for doing all that work to maybe have to do more work. So thank you.
Mrs. Lomax?
This has always been the most frustrating part of the budget. It's just, they require you to do something when you actually don't even really know what you're getting or if you're getting anything. So this is when you use your crystal ball, and we appreciate the hard work. And I don't know how you do it, because it would drive me nuts. It already does drive me nuts, but.
Ms. Callahan?
I appreciate too. Thank you for outlining. I have my notes here, but thank you for outlining methodically. And I like how here's the scenario if we add 9 million, and then I love that in red, the new revised original budget if state budget is significantly different, which we do know that I think it's $8 billion of unrestricted block dollars that we don't know where and when it may go. Because I thought at one point, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that I feel like we used to run around a $220 million budget, and now we're looking at 156. Or is that because of the 2,000 decline enrollment that we're projecting for 2 years out?
Part of it is declining enrollment. Part of it is that you came in during a really high budget time because of COVID. We had a lot more money than we normally do. And part of it is this isn't every penny that we have. This is the LCFF. We have our, Anna, do you want to jump in here?
You know what? We can do a Friday letter. It's getting late. Velma is 3 hours ahead. I don't need to bog down, but I'm just like, where did I miss?
No, it is definitely smaller than what you've seen in the past.
Okay, so it's okay. But thank you. Appreciate the presentation, and fingers crossed for another amazing year with that $8 billion.
Fingers crossed.
Ms. Rodriguez, any questions or comments?
No, thank you.
Okay. And I have none either. I'd just like to thank staff for all their hard work. As Velma says, one of the most frustrating things we do because of the way the state budgets and what they require of you. So we appreciate your hard work and appreciate you so very, very much. And you're right, we will be getting a letter from the county. It's a foregone fact. So we know we're going to get that letter, could get it every year. So thank you once again. And with that, we'll move to our consent calendar. With our consent calendar, we can take items 18 through 22 as a block, unless somebody has something they want pulled from the consent calendar for individual discussion. Anybody have anything they want pulled from the consent calendar? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve items 18 through 22.
Second that motion.
We have a second?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't hear the first. Who made the motion?
Calvin,
moved.
and I can second.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I
Thank you.
think.
Thank you. Vote as follows. Trustee Peterson,
Yes.
Trustee Lomax,
Yes.
Trustee Callahan,
Yes.
and Trustee Dannenberg.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries 4-0.
And just for people's information, Trustee Rodriguez asked not to vote since she's in transit. Moving forward to board reports. Mr. Peterson, anything to report?
No, not at this moment.
Okay. Ms. Lomax?
No.
Ms. Callahan?
I do not.
Okay.
I do not, due to our time.
Ms. Rodriguez?
I just want to thank all the staff and the families who came out to support the art show. It was great.
Right. And I too would like to thank all of our staff and for all the art shows, the awards programs going on. There's just so much going on at the schools that it's just wonderful to see the hard work and be able to participate in some of those events. So thank you all very much. Coming events, Dr. Rice.
Yep. So we have 2 slides. I'm not going to read it. You can read that for yourself, but we are at that time of year when there's lots of stuff going on. And on the second slide here, you can see the schedule of our promotions and graduations. We're super excited to get back out there and celebrate with our students and our families the great accomplishment of promoting and graduating. And staff and board members will be at as many of these as possible, I know.
Okay, and future agenda items?
Yes, we have several. I'll run through them really quick, and then if board has others, we can certainly add them. We will be bringing back the LCAP and the budget on June 28th, as Dr. Chandler and Dr. Castro alluded to earlier. We will be having a discussion on board travel and conference on July 12th. We are looking to schedule a parcel tax oversight committee. I know it says TBD, but I clarified with Dr. Chandler that we are scheduling that for June at the next meeting. We are looking to have a school safety update either next month or in July, and we could look for the board for guidance on that. And although we've been working hard to make sure that our sites are doing their necessary drills, walking the campus and eyeballing any safety concerns they have, we will need some guidance from the board on issues that have been longstanding and that are bigger ticket items such as fencing and some of our larger campuses. So we need to have a discussion about that. As you know, the board approved an IT program, programmatic review. We would look to bring that forward to you probably in August. And then Dr. Castro and his team would like to bring to you a universal pre-K report also at the end of this month.
Okay. Any other items from the board, Mr. Peterson?
No, not at this time. Thank
Ms.
you.
Lomax? Ms. Callahan?
I did have, well, so I wanted to, I know that we brought this up in the past, but is about, I know that it's come through in an email, but possibility for an outdoor education program or what that looks like for 5th grade and funding, because I know we're kind of in the middle of budgets. And so I don't know if this is a time to be discussing that or even in the future, but just to kind of table it as a future board item. I think that was the only thing left on my tasks. So thank you.
Okay, do we need consensus to move forward on that? So is everybody okay if we bring that, put that for future discussion? Anybody opposed? Okay. Mr. Rodriguez?
Nothing. Thank you.
Okay. I have one item that I would like us to consider. We have put on the back burner our board self-evaluation. I think it's important that we get that back on track. And, you know, there was some talk at one point about some staff surveys to give us some direction as a board as to what we're doing well and what we could do to improve in. I guess I'd like to see that back on the agenda. Do we have any consensus around that? That's up. Ms. Lomax is a yes. Mr. Peterson, you okay with it? Ms. Callahan?
Yeah, I thought that was an automatic annual thing. So absolutely. I don't know about, maybe we can talk about the whole surveys and the role of all of that, what that looks like. But sorry, I have a piercing headache. So, but absolutely. I thought that was an ongoing thing as a board evaluation.
Ms. Rodriguez, any concerns?
No, no concerns.
Okay, so I'd like to see that on the agenda. Okay, that brings us to board superintendent comments. Any comments from superintendent of the board? Okay.
Before we move on, Dr. Dannenberg, if I could take just a minute, I know it's late, but I want to thank everybody who's worked so hard to put on the end of the year events, the music concerts, the art show, the senior awards. They represent literally hundreds and probably thousands of people hours to put together. And every one of them has just been so outstanding. I know you and I and other staff members were at the Ventura High School Senior Awards last night, and just amazing. Just all of them have been incredible. Even the Anacapa Spring Concert, on and on. Just a great job. And finally, I would like to take a moment to publicly recognize someone who will be retiring and for whom this is his last official board meeting. Stand up and take a bow, Mr. Ramos. I want to express my immense appreciation for you. You have been just a stalwart of professionalism, in pride in our district. No, put the camera, there you go. You went away for a minute there, Anthony. Don't do that. You deserve this moment. You have been one who has been so professional and dedicated to the district. It's been like your extended family. You have taken on the thankless jobs, the difficult jobs, the controversies, and all of the things that other people might shy away from. You have just embraced as a part of your job and a part of your work in your life. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. And I know this is your last official board meeting, but thank you for all of your 17 years of service. I know for the last 3 years, I've really enjoyed working with you. You've helped me learn the ropes here in Ventura Unified, and I can't thank you enough for that. So congratulations on a well-earned retirement, Anthony, and we'll certainly miss you.
Okay, with that, do we have any need to go to closed session?
We do not.
We do not. Hearing and none, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Thank you. Vote as follows. Trustee Peterson?
Yes.
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Callahan?
Yes.
And Trustee Dannenberg?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you to our closed captioner and to TDC for helping us out tonight. We really do appreciate you and have a wonderful evening.